Important that we understand the difference between the Negro and the coon. Sister Tammy, this is a very important distinction that has to be made. The Negro is innocent in his ignorance, Sister Tammy. As Brother Michael said earlier, some people make mistakes against the race unknowingly. If you make a mistake against the race unknowingly, that was a Negro. Negroes are innocent. They think white people are more intelligent. They think Jesus is black because they haven't been taught any better. But a coon knows better. But the coon voluntarily identifies with his oppressor because there is an agenda that he's looking to get filled. And the sad thing about Jessie Lee Peterson is he is too old to be cooning at this point in his life. And the fact that he claims to be a man of God doing the devil's work makes him a total hypocrite.
Like Dr. Umar just said, he just spoke as a blind man. He has no idea what he's talking about because there's no such thing as slavery syndrome or whatever he said. Our battle is a spiritual battle. It's either right or wrong, good or evil. And in the good old days when boys were boys and men were men, men knew that, and they led their wives and children in the right way to go. And they did have a conduct of morality. They treated everyone they would like in the way that they would like to be treated, never mind the color. They taught their children how to work and be responsible and not blame and whine. And they didn't put it out there as though they couldn't make it. Dr. Umar Johnson just made up words.
Reverend Jessie, I don't think we should suggest that one person knows more than the other in a sense of you saying you know it all and anyone else on the panel knows less. That's a little unfair.
Yeah, well, I may not know my flowers, but I know Dr. Umar Johnson is blind and that he's wrong. And he doesn't know God. So he's telling people words, fancy words, in order to deceive them. If you knew that our battle is a battle between good and evil, then you wouldn't make up words in order to deceive. You would tell the truth and hope that those who are blind may wake up and see the right way to go. I grew up on a plantation down in Alabama under the Jim Crow law. And back then, black people—
There were no slaves on that plantation?
Well, yeah, they had, as a matter of fact, my grandparents' parents ran the plantation, but they weren't slaves when I was growing up. And the point is, black people had a sense of morality then, and they loved what was right. They worked hard. They loved their country. They didn't blame because the men were leading the way.
Hold that thought, Reverend Jessie.
Now the black men saw like women.
Hold that thought, Reverend Jessie. Dr. Umar, go ahead. I don't want him to bring your name up and not allow you to respond.
It's okay. I had been on Reverend Jessie's show before, and they have been trying diligently to have me come back. And one of the reasons I did not return to the show is because I believe that Jessie Lee Peterson knows better. In fact, he would be a textbook definition of a sellout, because he is the type of black man who will bend over backwards to absolve the American white power structure of any responsibility for what happens to black people. And like many sellouts, they always ignore or they try to retreat away from acknowledging the role that systemic racism plays in the life of black people. Racism is not only about the individual mistreatment of black people, it is about the systemic mistreatment of black people. See, racism is a system that all white people participate in to disadvantage all members of another group. So you don't opt in, you don't opt out. And members of the target group don't opt in or opt out. But what they can do, as Jessie Lee Peterson has so effectively done in his career, is they can identify with the power structure. They can identify with white racism, and they can carve out a niche for themselves by defending the racism that is attacking black people, as opposed to defending black people against that racism. A black man in America who does not stand up for his people, and in turn aligns himself with the structure that is eating away at the opportunities of Black people can go very far in this country. Senator Tim Scott is an example. Jessie Peterson is an example. And we will continue to create these types of personalities, Sister Tammi, if we don't come up with a code and if the Black community doesn't start holding its members accountable for dysfunctional behavior. So there's no such thing as slavery did not impact my family. Just like in today's America, all white people benefit from the mass incarceration of Black people. They benefit from the miseducation of Black children. They benefit from the police brutality against Black people. So I want to make sure we are clear.
What you're saying
Racism is not about individual white people choosing to hate
is
Blacks.
a lie.
Racism is about the system of racism
that
lie. Controls opportunities and resources, Sister Tammi. Racism is not about the attitude. It's about the control of resources and opportunities.
Tammi, that is not true. This is why we have to, we must get to know ourselves so that we can overcome that fallen state. Dr. Umar is evil for putting out a lie like that or lies like that, because people are going to believe in it.
Let's refrain from calling people names.
Okay, but he's not telling the truth.
We have to refrain, Sister Tammi, but at the same time,
he is evil. But Tammi, you know what I just want to add to that? To hear Dr. Umar and the other man to speak this way.
That's Michael.
It's Michael, sorry. To hear Michael and Dr. Umar speak this way is abnormal for men. Normally men, when I was growing up, they had logical mindset. But today's Black man has an illogical mindset because he thinks like a woman. He has not overcome the spirit of the woman and returned to the logical mindset.
There is nothing more effeminate than a white man defending the white power structure against Black people. There is nothing more effeminate than a Black man defending the white power structure against Black people.
Hey, why are you speaking? Hold on.
You are politically effeminate, Jessie
logical in their mind.
You are politically
and
effeminate.
Women are illogical.
You are
in their
politically
mindset, right?
effeminate.
Why are you
You are defending the white power structure against your own people while you claim to be a man of God. You are a disgrace to your race, sir. You are a disgrace to your race.
And so normally
Dr. Umar,
the men with the logical mindset would bring the women and children to a logical mindset to help them overcome. But now the Black men, not all but most, they think like their mothers and grandmothers. So they all think just like women, and that's why you can't get it right.
So indicting racism makes you a woman.
God, and that order is God in Christ, Christ in man, man over woman, and woman over children.
I'm not interested in a religious interpretation of racism.
Today's Black woman is over the men. And
it is a mistake to use religion to interpret political phenomena.
But you do put him in the coon kingdom.
I would put Steve Harvey in the coon kingdom, but he wouldn't be grade A like Jessie Peterson and Charles Barkley.
Reverend Jessie.
Yes.
You're a part of the coon kingdom, he says. That's
right. You know, you just heard the voice of a beta male. That made no sense of what the doctor said and what Michael said. It's sad to see that most Black people believe that they're all the same because of their color. They're not looking at them, their true self. They are a spirit created in the image of God, and they don't know that. They're going by colors, and so they're all in the same pot, headed down to the road to destruction.